Well, while everybody is trying to spin this on the left, talking about how, whoa, Jimmy Kimmel had crazy high ratings when he came back. Those ratings have already plummeted back down to earth and will be back at record lows by next week. This fake PR boom for him, in fact, is completely fabricated. On top of the fact that apparently Nexstar has doubled down and said they are going to remain steadfast and not putting Jimmy Kimmel back on air. Reportedly, Jimmy Kimmel his comeback has descended into chaos, and his staff turned against him, and they have threatened to walk off the show. They're facing lawsuits. Yeah, they had a big return. Everybody knew that everyone was going to tune in to hear what he had to say, and then everybody immediately tuned out again. And, well, if you're sad for Jimmy Kimmel, if you're not sad for Jimmy, make sure you leave a like on the video right now. Here's some of the news and stories on it. In a defiant moment, one of the largest ABC affiliate owners in the country, Nexstar, is refusing to air Jimmy Kimmel on all of its stations. Jimmy's fake apology wasn't enough. Quote, Nexstar is continuing to evaluate the status of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our ABC affiliated local television stations, and the show will be preempted while we do so. Now, I am assuming, again, this is not a difficult position for Nexstar. Jimmy Kimmel's ratings are objectively terrible. Here you can see it has gone. Here's Jimmy Kimmel Live. All these shows peaking, a long time ago, and now it is at record lows, 0.16. In fact, Jimmy Kimmel Live is only second worst to The Tonight Show, while the Late Show, the Late Show has been canceled, or The Tonight Show, one of these two, they're all terrible. Essentially, in the key demographic, these shows have been completely abandoned by their viewers. That's the reality of this. That's the reality. Again, after Jimmy Kimmel's emotional non-apology, Nexstar says it isn't budging and doubling down on its blackout of Jimmy Kimmel. Here's the article. Nexstar evaluating the status of Jimmy Kimmel Live for ABC stations after late night show's return. Nexstar Media Group said Wednesday it's still continuing to evaluate whether it's going to bother bringing back Jimmy Kimmel Live to its ABC affiliate networks a day after the Late Show returned to Disney-owned network. Nexstar's broadcast TV stations affiliated with ABC did not air Kimmel's return to late night on Tuesday. Nexstar is continuing to evaluate the status of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our ABC affiliated local television stations, and the show will be preempted while we do so. Here's the reality. They're going to find that Jimmy Kimmel Live, there are many other options that they could put on late night that will do better. They could do reruns of MXC, the Don't Get Eliminated show. They could do reruns of that show, and it would probably do better than Jimmy Kimmel Live. They could do reruns of, they did Celebrity Family Feud. They're probably trying to find something that does as good, that doesn't cost them as much. Sinclair representative on Wednesday also referred to CNBC to its statement on Monday, saying that the company stations would continue. So both Sinclair and Nexstar have refused to bring him back on the air. A Sinclair representative on Wednesday referred to CNBC to its statement on Monday when it said the company stations would continue to preempt the show, and that discussions with the ABC are ongoing as they reevaluate the show's potential return. Two of the largest broadcast station owners, Nexstar and Sinclair, together own 70 ABC affiliate stations in the U.S. Well, we're still on air in most of the country, except, ironically, from Washington, D.C., where we have been preempted. Kimmel said after a commercial break, after almost 23 years on the air, we're suddenly not being broadcast in 20% of the country, which is not a situation we relish. So they still hold back 20%. They still are banned in 20% of the country. The reality of this is that Jimmy Kimmel is simply not profitable. It is simply not a profitable show for these ABC affiliates to pay for. That's the reality. Yeah, we get to point and laugh and say, oh, it's because Jimmy Kimmel's a piece of garbage, or it's because Jimmy Kimmel, isn't funny. But the reality is, even though they had a massive viewership for his return show, 6.2 million viewers, which was a 400% increase on their normal viewership. It has already started to plummet back down to earth. Yeah, everyone tuned in for one night, but it's not going to last. Jimmy Kimmel getting booted off the air was the best thing for his career. Again, for one day. For one day, he had good ratings. Probably great ratings, I would say. To be intellectually honest. Probably had great ratings for that one day. But he refused to say, I'm sorry. So Nexstar and Sinclair said, suck a butt. I didn't watch these garbage late night show hosts anyway. So, I wasn't going to tune in. I just waited to see the clip on Twitter. But Kimmel's corporate fallout, now he's threatening legal action. Disney shareholders want to know if the improper political or affiliate pressures went into the host's week-long suspension. Oh, don't forget, we've got his Meltdown coming here too. There's credible basis to suspect that the board and executives may have breached their fiduciary duties of loyalty, care, and good faith by placing improper political or affiliate considerations above the best interests of the company and its stockholders, says a letter delivered to Bob Iger Friday from Roberta Kaplan and other lawyers. This is just some garbage, ambulance chaser lawsuit. At the end of the day, this lawsuit's actually going to prove that these people, Disney had no political pressure. They had no pressure whatsoever. None. Disney's stock suffered significant declines in response to the company's abrupt decision to suspend Mr. Kimmel on his show. Well, let's take a look at the Disney stock, right? Did it go down a little bit? Yeah. But it's still down today. Again, it's tanking today. Look at the 5 days. It's down 1.69%. Today, it's down 0.5%. Let's look at the last month. It's down 5%. The stock was dropping before September 8th, before the incident ever happened, the stock dropped, right? Tuesday, September 9th, the day of the incident. Wednesday, the day after the incident, it had dropped significantly from $118 a share to $115. Then it spiked when Jimmy Kimmel got banned. And then, in the week afterwards, September 10th is when it happened. September 11th is when he made the joke, I believe. Or when he got banned, it obviously dropped further. But this is a stock that has been, over the last 6 months, doing pretty good. But over the last month, regardless of the ban, has been tanking completely. Jimmy Kimmel's comeback descends into chaos. Staff turn on the host over his terrible behavior as betrayal rumor runs rife backstage. Panic gripped the set of Jimmy Kimmel Live back on Tuesday as staff admitted that they had no idea what the host would say on his dramatic return to air and threatened to walk out if he apologized. So all those stories about, think of all the John and Jimmy lunch pail who are getting affected by this totally political ban, which it wasn't a political ban, but you get what I'm saying. They didn't want him to apologize. Everybody on the show who worked for Jimmy Kimmel did not want him to apologize for the heinous things he said about Charlie Kirk. So I'm sorry if I don't care that, these people might have lost their job.
Celebrity cult.
Might have lost their job. It does not matter to me. These people are garbage. They didn't want him to apologize for what being, for not having common decency. They didn't want Jimmy Kimmel to have common decency. So I don't care if these people get fired. All of these dorks who have been fired or evicted or arrested for being garbage people over the Charlie Kirk assassination, I simply do not care. An insider told the Daily Mail there was chaos backstage and said writers and producers were threatening to leave if he did not defend his controversial comments on the Charlie Kirk assassination. The Disney bosses only confirmed his return late Monday, leaving his crew on edge. There are already concerns that the comeback could be a ratings disaster, with dozens of ABC affiliates refusing to air the show. It had good ratings. I can't be surprised that there were good ratings. there were a lot of people that turned it on for about 5 minutes to see what he had to say and then tuned right back out. Executive producers reportedly clamped down, ordering staff not to discuss what Kimmel had planned to say, a speech expected to draw millions of viewers, but the secrecy has left the team feeling sidelined. Now they feel like they're being kept out of the writing of the monologue that will likely attract millions of people. It's chaos, they told the Daily Mail 5 hours before Kimmel Live had aired. No one knew what Jimmy was going to say, but there are rumblings that if he apologizes, everyone's going to walk out. So again, we can see all these, look, you can't deny he had a lot of viewers. But what I'm going to say is I look forward to the video next week, Monday or Tuesday when we get the ratings, that the ratings have dropped 50 or 75%. This says Kimmel's ratings bonanza continues. Okay. Kimmel's Wednesday night follow-up to his Tuesday night comeback show quickly racked up millions of views on YouTube on Thursday morning, indicating that interest in Kimmel's commentary remains way above normal. By 2 p.m. Eastern, so now they're worried about the reporting on YouTube. They're not even reporting about TV ratings. On traditional television, his return scored at least 6.3 million viewers. According to Nielsen measurements, that figure will increase once other forms of viewing are put in. But they haven't talked about any, what his ratings were the next night or the next night. I wouldn't say his YouTube views are anything that they care about. They don't care about YouTube views. YouTube forces it. They're still banned in 23% of American households. So, this is all fake news. By the way, Jimmy Kimmel's sister is doing some suspicious stuff. Here you see Dan Ruscaletti, who is a comic and an entertainment manager, wrote, "Every mega person I know is angry and lonely." I think the exact opposite is true. Here's Jimmy Kimmel's sister. "Sadly, that's not the case. Some of them are even your clients and they're mega." Jill Kimmel, "What are you talking about?" Dante, "Some of your clients are mega. Do you want names?" So his psycho wife is trying to get people fired in Hollywood for supporting Trump. They're trying to get people blacklisted. So again, his wife is garbage. He's garbage. Everyone that writes on his show is garbage. Don't feel bad for these people. As I mentioned earlier, they are garbage. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.